Good morning. I'm Dr. Keith Huxon, Senior Director of Research and History here at the National World War II Museum, and we are standing in the Island Hopping Gallery in the road to Tokyo. Now, you can undoubtedly hear all of the audio-visual components in our galleries around me, sounds of machine guns and other things firing off in here. Why are we in the Road to Tokyo galleries when what I really want to address is the upcoming 75th anniversary of the D-Day landing at Normandy? Well, the Marines landed at Tarawa November the 20th, 1943, and this became one of the worst battles in the Pacific War to that date. Basically, we had to kill over 99% of the Japanese troops on that island, but we paid a high price in casualties ourselves as well. The reason being that the Japanese had so heavily fortified this island. They'd used coconut logs and all types of other defensive measures going into the island, including pillboxes, and they had dug themselves in. Now, this frightened a lot of people going forward, planning the D-Day invasion of Normandy that was coming up, because this was a relatively small amphibious operation at this point. And it hadn't gone according to plan, even though we managed to win in the end after 3 days of terrible, bloody fighting. This was a warning to the planners in England, thinking about how do we storm the beaches in France? What can we expect? This was an unknown to a certain degree, and keep in mind, as Dr. Rob Citino, who introduced this series, pointed out, that on November the 3rd, Hitler had issued his Directive 51, and under General Rommel, the Germans were fortifying their coastline all the way from Norway through France, all the way down to Spain. So we were facing much heavier odds, and the idea that couldn't escape the minds of the planners back in England was we have a lot more that could go wrong in the largest amphibious invasion planned for the war thus far, one where things could not go wrong, that we had to succeed in. One other element to this gallery I wanted to briefly mention is how alive history remains to this day. Immediately behind me, to my left, there is a plaque honoring Alexander Bonnyman, the Medal of Honor recipient whose actions on Tarawa basically were in the news recently because his remains were discovered a couple of years ago in a cemetery overgrown on Tarawa. So, the National World War II Museum is proud to be participating in an initiative with the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, known as DPAAA, 2 A's, DPAA, to bring home the remains of American service members still gone, missing from World War II, spread around the world. And so this has enabled us to have a historian and genealogist on staff who are assisting DPAA in researching active cases to this day. Alexander Bonnyman's grandson, Clay, is going to be speaking at the international conference that the National World War II Museum is going to put on at the end of this month, November. So I hope that you're able to come, and if you can't come to the conference in person, please watch it as we live stream those speakers at the end of this month. Thank you for joining us, and please continue to look for more programming as we highlight the countdown to D-Day 75 in the coming months.